Today we're going to go over my stock tracking sheet. We'll explain how to use it, what kind of information does it provide for you, and how you can get it. Hello my friends, this is Legend. So today we're going to go over my stock tracking sheet. For those who have already downloaded it, I just want to say thank you, as it does help support my channel. And I hope it also provides you with a way of tracking your position on MSTY or any of these other high yield ETFs. So if you do click that link to buy me a coffee and you do download this sheet, I'll go over quickly what you'll see and also how it works, what it tracks, what kind of information will it provide you, and of course how to get it if you have not already downloaded it. So when you click that buy me a coffee link, it will take you to that site where if you buy me a coffee, then you will get an email that will have a link in it that you will then be able to download a copy of my spreadsheet. When you first get that link, it will be a view only sheet. And then you'll need to make a copy of that view only so that you can utilize it, and it will make it a sheet where you can plug in your numbers, your purchases, and your distributions that you have earned throughout since you've owned that stock or ETF. So when you click that buy me a coffee link and you buy me a coffee from that site, then you'll receive an email with a link to the Google Sheet where it will then open up this page here. And as you can see, it will have this button up here that says view only. You do not need to click that, as that would be how you would request access to this page. You're not necessarily going to be requiring or requesting access. You just need to make a copy of this sheet so that you can use it and plug in your numbers. And by doing so, that will make it active, and it will then be your sheet to do with as you will. I have instructions here on this first tab here of download your copy. It will have the instructions for the computer, and it also has it for the phone. But since we're on the computer right now, we'll go through this one. And as you can see, it says to click this file button up here. So you just simply click file, and then you will go to make a copy right here. And that's what this shows, right? So you'll just click make a copy, and when you do, it will do just that. When it makes a copy, your new sheet will look like this. And as you can see, it will say copy of and then the file name up here at the top. And as you can see, there is no more the view only button here. It is now a usable sheet. You can change it, update it, adjust it, delete it, whatever you want to with it. It is yours to do with as you please. So after that, your download a copy tab here is done. Then we can go over to the notes section here. And this just really gives you an example of what the headers are, what they basically mean of each. And you can go through that on your own. And those headers, of course, are of the headers here, as you can see in this example, which are part of the headers in the actual stock tracker sheet itself. And then also gives you a nice little example of how to fill the sheet out right here. So you can go through this to help you understand how the sheet works, how to fill it out. And then of course the last is just a revision log for myself. The next tab is just templates, okay? So there's nothing there. It's just telling you that the template is the next tab over. And as you can see, that is the simple stock tracker sheet. Now that one has MSTY in the bottom of the tab down here. And that's just so that you can use that for MSTY, or you can change that MSTY to whatever stock it is that you're tracking to relabel that tab to that stock ticker symbol. So the first thing we do is we want to enter in the stock ticker symbol here. But before we do that, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, hit that like button, it'd be much appreciated. if you like this kind of content of MSTY and if you appreciate providing this tool for you to use. So here we'll just enter in our stock ticker symbol, and we'll just do it with MSTY, MSTY. And when we hit enter, that will bring up the price here. And that's the current price of MSTY. Now, this is using Google Finance. So if you enter a stock ticker symbol and it does not pull in a price for that symbol, then it is not yet part of the Google Finance data. There's not much I can do about that, but most ETFs and stock ticker symbols are in there. The newer ones may not have made it into the database for Google Finance yet, but I'm sure they'll get there eventually. Just to show you that the sheet does work for a lot of different stock ticker symbols, I'll just enter in a few here just to show you that it will kick out that current price. So we are showing MSTY. I can use PLTY, and as you can see, it did kick out 62.04 for the latest current price on PLTY. I can even use it for the underlying PLTR, and you can see it's 123.31, or MSTR, and you can see 369.51, or Microsoft, which would be MSFT at $450.18. And I'll also do for other ETFs like VOO for $532.40. And the last one I'll use for an example will be TSLY. And as you can see, $9.10 for Tesla. So we'll change that back to MSTY, MSTY, and continue on. I just wanted to show that this sheet does work for just about every stock. Now, the one that I found that it doesn't seem to kick out is the new one, MST. And if it does not find it, it will kick up an NA. And that's just because that data is not yet available for Google Finance. But for IMST, that one is there. So you can see there are several different ones, and the sheet will work for those. But for the ones that it does not find, chances are it's a very new stock that just has not made it into the database for Google Finance. So let's change it right back over to MSTY there and continue on. So now that we have the ticker symbol entered in, and we've entered in MSTY, as you can see here is those headers that we were just looking at in the notes section, and you can get a description of those in that. But once we've entered in our ticker symbol, the next thing we'll do is we'll enter in our purchase. And this is the purchase price and date that you purchased MSTY at. So I'll use the last two purchases that I've made with MSTY for this example. You would enter in your information, your purchase prices, and such into this field that you've made. But for me, I made one on 5/1 of 2025. I had a buy price of $24.50 with a number of shares, 10. Once I hit enter, that will calculate the total amount that I have spent, and that amount will be calculated into my total capital invested. As you can see, 245, 245. And the reason it's that same number is because I only have that one purchase. It will then divide out and find out what's the price per share. And since I only have 10 shares, it's $24.50. I've not earned any distributions yet, as my purchase was on May the 1st. Now, we did earn a distribution on May the 8th. So let's just go ahead and jump forward in time to May 8th of 2025. So I will enter in the date here for May 8th of 2025. The amount that I did earn per share, and this is the distribution per share that was announced, was 2.3734. And that was the distribution per share that was announced. Now, how many shares did I have on that day? Well, for this example, I have 10 shares, because you must own the shares before the X date. And as you can see, I purchased them over here on May 1st. Well, this is May 8th. Now you can enter in whatever date that you want to put in here. If you want to use the announcement date, you want to use the X date, you want to use the date that you actually received the distribution, that's up to you. It will not affect any of the calculations or anything. It is really just for your own personal tracking purposes. But for this one here, I've got May 8th, and that's actually the X date. You can use the pay date or you can use the announcement date. Again, it doesn't matter. For this example, I'm just entering in the X date here. And the number of shares that are eligible for this price of $2.37 per share, well, I have 10 shares. So I enter my 10 shares in here, and it will then calculate how much I will earn on the pay date. And on that pay date, I should earn $23.73. Now, as you can see, it did enter in that distribution earned right into this cell here, $23.73. What did it also do? Well, it also provided me with my new adjusted capital invested or at risk. Originally, I had $245 at risk. Well, I've got paid $23.73 in the distribution. So now I only have $221.27 at risk. I take that and I can divide that by my number of shares I have, 10 shares, and that would put me at $22.13 per share. So this is my adjusted price per share, including my distributions. This, to me, this is my real price per share, not the $24.50 per share, because I did earn some money off of it, a distribution of $23.73. So I want to make sure that I am capturing that and deducting that from the amount that I have invested, and therefore that gives me a new price per share of $22.13. Then I can also show here where I have earned back 9.69% of my money already, because I no longer have $245 at risk. I only have $221.27 at risk. Therefore, I have gained and acquired back a total of 9.69% of my money. So I hope that kind of makes some sense right there, that this will help to show you and help you to track your real price per share, because you are receiving money in the form of distributions. So you should definitely be tracking that, because once this number, that $22.13, once that gets to zero, then you no longer have any of your personal capital at risk, and therefore all distributions from that point on is 100% free and clear, straight into your pocket, and you can do with it as you will. You can roll it into more MSTY, you can buy different stocks with it, or you can withdraw it and pay some bills, go on vacation, whatever it is that you want to do with your distributions at that point. But it's just nice to know that once this reaches zero, you no longer have any skin in the game, and it definitely helps, because at that point, it doesn't really affect you what happens to MSTY at that point, because you're in it now and just receiving 100% free and clear distribution gains. So continuing on, let's jump forward in time a little bit more up to May 21st, where I did sell a put. Now, if you are not selling puts, then you don't have to worry about this section. You'll just leave this whole section here. It'll just be blank, and that's okay. You don't have to sell puts to make the additional money, but since I did, I'm going to show you how to enter it into this field here. So on May 21st, I sold a put that expires June the 20th, 2025. That put that I sold, it was a $20 put, and I sold one contract of that. So not really a whole lot there, but it is a single put nevertheless. So how much did I make on doing so? And since I'm the seller, I earned the premium. I get paid the premium. Now, if I was buying the put, then I would have to pay the premium. But since I am not buying it, I'm selling it. And if I'm the seller, I'm the receiver of the premium. So in this case, I earned 45 cents per share for selling this put. Now, each contract is worth 100 shares. So the amount earned here, I'm going to enter in a quick little formula, and you can use a calculator to do so. It'll give you the same result. You just want to enter in the result into this cell. But just to show you how and what numbers I'm using, I'll just enter it in here so you can see it. So I earned 45 cents per share. Each contract is worth 100 shares. So I take that 45 cents, I multiply times 100 for 100 shares per contract. How many contracts did I sell? Well, I only sold one contract. So that would be times 1. So as you can see, right now it is at $45. But now let's just go ahead and also I want to subtract out my fees for selling that put. It does cost me to sell a put. But with Webull, it only cost me 7 cents to actually sell that put. So I can just simply go in here and subtract out that 7 cent fee here, and it would give me what that total amount is that I will receive. And then I just hit enter here, and as you can see, it will give me $44.93. And that is what I earned for selling that put at a $20 strike that will expire June the 20th. Now, I'm not going to go into much detail of how to sell the put or how the options work, but basically, I am stating by selling this put at $20, I am stating that I am willing to buy shares, 100 shares to be exact, since I only have one contract, at a $20 strike. So if it gets down to $20 at any point, it is down to $20 or less, then I could be assigned those shares, and I would then be responsible for buying 100 shares at $20. Now, if that would happen at any point before June the 20th, I could get assigned early and be required to buy those shares at $20 per share, or $2,000, as $20 times 100 shares would be $2,000. But that does not mean that once it drops below that $20 strike at any point before the 620, that does not mean that I will be assigned those shares immediately. That just means I could be assigned those shares at any point before June the 20th. But now, if I still have this put and it is June the 20th, if this strike or the actual price of MSTY, which currently is at $21.52, if by June the 20th, and I have not been assigned early at any point, and it is now June the 20th, and this put is still open, by the end of that day, if the price is at or below $20, I will get assigned those shares, and I will have to pay $20 per share for those shares. And that would be 100 shares at $20 each. So that is true for anything below $20 for the stock price. Now, if the price of the stock is, say, $15, then I still have to pay $20 per share for those shares. Even though the price of it is currently at $15, I am responsible and required to buy those shares at $20 because that is the contract that I created and I have to stick to that. But if the price of the stock is at $20.01, and therefore anything above $20 means I will not have to buy those shares. I will not be required to buy those shares at $20 because the price of the stock is actually higher than the $20. So if it's $20.01 or if it's $40, Anything above that 20 means I will not be required to buy those shares at 20 bucks. So that's kind of the quick rundown of options. Now there's a lot to that, so you may have to rewind back and listen to that a couple times, but that's roughly exactly how it works and what your responsibilities are for selling a put. So back to the sheet here, as you can see, we did sell that put. And we earned $44.93. We cleared $44.93, right? So as we look up here and you see the premium earned, well, it still says 0. Well, that's just simply because you can choose to include the premium in the calculation here to get your adjusted price per share, or you can choose not to. If you choose not to, you keep this button right here on the right hand side of the screen to no. But if you do want to include that into the calculation, which I don't see why you wouldn't, then you can just drop it down right here and you click yes, that you do want to include that premium in the calculation. And once you hit yes, you'll see that it will include it into the premium earned, and it will also change that adjusted price per share, currently at $22.13. And once I click yes, you can see it did earn that premium and that $22.13 per share. Now my new adjusted price per share is $17.63. And I have earned back now 28.03% of my money that I had invested into MSTY. So as you can see, as you enter things, this calculations and these price per share values do change as you enter in more information, and that's why it's helpful. But let's just go ahead and we'll just jump ahead up into May the 23rd, where I did make my last purchase here. And again, this is not my current position. This is only for an example and how you enter in your information into the sheet. I think it'll just help you to be able to use it better. So we'll enter in my last purchase of 5/23 of 2025, and then I made a buy at $21.88, and I purchased another 10 shares. And as you will see, it will calculate that amount spent, but you will also notice that my purchase share price average here of $24.50, which was of the 10 shares. Now that 10 shares is going to go to 20 shares. And this purchase price will also go down along with my adjusted price per share over here. This will also be adjusted as well. But since this $21.88 buy price is above my current adjusted price per share, this will not decrease, but it will actually increase slightly, because that price per share is above the $17.63. So that will cause this number to go up, but it will cause my purchase share average to go down. Let's just go ahead and hit enter and see what it shows. And as you can see, that was $218.80 total spent for that. It did drop my average share price here from $24.50 down to $23.19, and it also increased my adjusted price per share over here to $19.76, which now I have a percent earned back of only 14.8%. So why would I have done that? Why would I have purchased more shares knowing that it would increase my adjusted price per share average over here? Well, there's several reasons why you would do that. And that would be because that's going to give you more shares that you now earn distributions on. So the next distribution, instead of 10 shares, I'll have 20 shares. But the negative side to it is that it does prolong you from getting your capital back through the distributions. But at any time that you can lower your purchased share price over here, then that's okay to do if that is your plan. But if you can get it under your adjusted price per share, that's even better, because then you will be lowering that adjusted price per share on top of your purchased share average price over here. Now that would be the best of both worlds, but eventually your adjusted price per share will be so low that it will be almost impossible to buy shares below that price. And at that point, you may just want to hang out, wait until you have then recouped all of your capital, and then once that is zero, then you can use the new distribution amounts that you'll receive to buy more shares, if that is what you choose, as that will make sure that you no longer have skin in the game outside of reinvesting your distributions that you are earning. Now, I think a good way of doing that is maybe to take a percentage of your distributions to maybe roll back into MSTY at that point, and then use another percentage of it to invest into other stocks, maybe more diversified stocks and such, or just withdraw it and use the money to pay bills or whatever it is that you want to use it for. That is your choice. So I hope this helped as far as in understanding how the sheet works, what kind of information does it give you, and also how you can get a hold of this sheet. And of course, if you have a way of tracking your adjusted price per share, then definitely use that, as this is just for those who don't have a way of doing it, or maybe just want a different way of tracking it, or just don't have the time to put the sheet together for themselves and don't mind actually acquiring this just to help save them time. Now, whenever you get your sheet, it will be blank as it was before. You'll enter in your stock ticker symbol, and then you'll enter in your purchases, your distributions, and any premium that you may have earned. But also in this download, there is another tab at the bottom down here, and it's just the example. And if you click it, you'll see that here's an example of my position. Now, this is not my up-to-date position, as this is just an example, a screenshot in time per se. And as you can see, I've got my buy prices and my number of shares entered in over here. I've been in it since August 23rd of 2024. I've entered in all of my distributions here, and I have also sold some puts on it, and I've also rolled a few and earned premium by doing so. So as you can see, at this point in time, my average price per share was at $7.08, but currently it is lower than that. Currently, I am at around $5 and some odd cent per share for my adjusted price per share. And you can see other videos where I did show my current position in MSTY. I have this tab here just so that you can look back on and see how I am actually using the sheet. And it's also a nice little refresher of what information to put where. So I hope this helped understand how to use this sheet. And again, if you would like access to this sheet, please look in the description. There will be a link, and at the top of the comments, there will be a pinned comment with a link to buy me a coffee. And after doing so, you will then get access to this sheet, where then you will follow the steps under download your copy, where you will make your copy of that view only sheet so that you can then enter in your information into each of the cells, then find out what your real adjusted price per share is, as that is very important information in my opinion. So anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up right there. I hope it was very helpful. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. It'd be much appreciated. And as always, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Please do your own due diligence before you get into any stock plays. And until next time, Legend out.